Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream. So it's been I guess almost a month since my last one, but I've been uh, going over kind of as many opportunities and places where I can optimize things and try to get the project to run as best as it can. And I've actually had some pretty decent success. There's still one thing that I'm still looking into, and I'll mention that. But yeah, let's take a quick look. Let me close some of the kind of just all the windows so we can see how this runs just at like in the editor and kind of nothing selected and in different areas of the game of at least kind of the most populated areas of in the game, namely around this town and around some of the residential areas. So, and I'll mention kind of like the hierarchical LODs, some of the changes that I did when it comes to reducing overdraw, um, kind of planned changes as far as reducing kind of the texture memory usage. And so yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, you notice that scenes like this, especially like it's kind of busy, still runs at 45 frames on high settings in the editor on my 1070. So let's take a kind of a look around some of these areas. Like this one is close to 50, and when it used to be around, I don't know, like 30 or 35. Let's see another one. Like this one before was running, I think, around like 25. Last time I was streaming, now it's at around 40-ish. This one kind of closing in on 60, 55-ish, 60. Um, I'm not entirely sure. I think the streaming takes a little bit out of it as well because earlier this one was sitting 60. Let's see, this one again closing in on 50. This one here again pretty busy with a lot of the buildings in the background, again around 50-ish. This one is going up to 55. This one we just looked at earlier. This one is actually earlier was hitting 60 easy. Um, let's see up here. This one again, it's a kind of a busier scene, less optimized than the town area, but again hitting it around 45. Let's see this one over here around like 45-ish. And so yeah, uh, a lot of the things that I've done to this. One of them is in my config settings, kind of reducing one thing that I'm not sure if it defaults to a different value. So let me share some of that with you, just so that whoever watches this kind of doesn't have to sit through the entire stream. So let me pull up this default engine and feel free to make a pause and if any of these settings will help you out. Uh, then please use them. Um, and one of them that let me see, where is it? That has helped me quite a bit. Let me see if I can find it. SG dot. I thought it was in here, but the setting for and actually let me see. I thought no, not that. Is it in the default game? So it is this one setting for the lumen quality, which did not influence the actual quality of it too much. I've noticed depending on how you set up your lighting, there might be some a little bit more noising that is being applied, but I think that can be controlled via a post-process volume. So let me see where that is. I think I might have it. Oh, there we go. I have it right here. So I was using this developer that was sharing some of the console variables, and things like SG.global illumination quality, setting that to 2, that really boosted my performance. And you can, feel free to pause. And these are some of the settings that I was tweaking just to get things running much better than I had it previously. So aside from that, some of the changes that I went through were related to combining nanite and using nanite in some of the instances. So you'll see, like for vegetation, like I've turned on nanite, and you'll get vegetation assets from different creators that somewhat support nanite. Like for example, these trees, they're turned on nanite, but like you can see like there's like a little bit of issue with some parts of the mesh. So what I intend to do is, in cases like this, I'll just update the alpha for this texture so these little branches don't show. But other than that, the tree works perfectly fine. So just turning on nanite on vegetation has really bumped up performance in my end. Okay, another thing that I've done is the my uh, my landscape vegetation. So let's take a look at that real quick, and I'll show you some of the settings that I was using on this. So since this is landscape, let me just kind of open the material and um, get those out. Bear with me for a little bit. All right, so let's look at, I think grass would be a good place to look at. So in the landscape material, you would have like a landscape grass node. They can feed in a bunch of these procedural grass items. So one thing that I was looking into whenever I had these set up is one, the instance world position offset disable distance. So basically the vegetation wouldn't sway depending on how far you are from it. And I've applied the same thing to the bigger ones like the trees and so on. So that really helped as well. The other one is, let's see, for static things, this shadow cache invalidation behavior, setting this from auto to rigid or static, that has also helped for like logs, for like rocks. Even though those don't have that, I've noticed a small increase as well. Of course, the start and end call distance, that's something that most people know about. So those really help the performance as well. The other item, and let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, so the shadow. So shadow casting, if you look at shadows, I've turned all the dynamic shadows off and I just left contact shadow. So now with contact shadow, what you might see is that, well, there is no shadow unless you update your directional light. So the directional light, it seems it's what controls the contact shadows. And in here, so you'll see there's a contact shadow length. There's a couple of settings for this. So by default, this is set to 0. So so it would be like, and also, I didn't do it for all of them, like ferns and stuff like that. I still have it casting regular shadows because they're like kind of bigger meshes. This little tree is also um, cast regular shadow, but like smaller grass or other things like that, I have them where I have this casting like um, uh, the the contact shadow. Hey Neo, welcome, welcome. How you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I was just going over some of the kind of updates for performance that I was working on to apply. Um, One thing that I might have mentioned in the past is runtime virtual textures. So that actually I had no idea that it contributes greatly at reducing the complexity of the landscape material. At least in my case, I think I've seen a couple of other creators on YouTube mentioning this as well. So another thing to look at. And so yeah, that's the kind of the contact shadow thing that you can uncheck for all your maybe your smaller assets that are on on the landscape, usually like grasses and things like that. All right, so let's see what else. Another thing, another big thing that that increased performance was you know getting your overdraw to, you can see, like, I think I'm pushing the LODs on this a little bit too much, but getting the overdraw to be as low as possible. That was, I think, another a really big one on my end, because I have a combination of like streets of masked assets, right? So in here, if you were to go to lit and then quad overdraw, you'll see that I could probably still do a little bit better, especially for these distant buildings over here. This is still kind of ongoing, but what I heard earlier was like I didn't have any LODs on the roads, so all these roads were like in like green, like overdraw like this. So yeah, you can see like, and this is where kind of the lower performance is. Like we have all these buildings out here that um, once you zoom out pretty far, they're not that friendly. And all these older roads, like these are some like older meshes that I have, but compare that to, let's see, where is a newer one? So let's see, where's the old? Yeah, so this, I think it's older mesh over here. You can see like it's all pretty green, and then new one over here, which is um, going more towards like a bluish hint. Yeah. Um, oh, so Fortnite had an issue with it, with the enable virtual runtime virtual textures. Oh, interesting. Huh, I didn't know that. Um, and thank you, yeah, thank you for mentioning that, the no real-time shadows on small foliage. And that's exactly what I was just talking about earlier about the contact shadows. Yeah, that's what I just did. So yeah, so yeah, trying to keep the overdraw as low as possible. Of course, in some cases, like big trees like this, you might not want to push it too close. So I can let's look at an example here. I think we can take a look at this big tree here. Let me see if I can find it. I usually just have to go through the foliage tree spawner. So we got this one tree here. So this is kind of the biggest tree in the world. And if we were to change this and change the LOD to screen size to something less, or actually bigger than this. So let me just move this to the side, and you'll see how the kind of the quad overdraw changes. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is going to be like this is kind of the next step that I wanted to look into. So let's take a quick look at this and then go back into quad overdraw. So right now that LOD2 is set at 0.11. If I change that to 0.2, you'll see that this is pushing the quad overdraw even lower, which, even better, but it really depends on the assets that you have. So for me, if I was to go into lit mode, they kind of don't look so good. It's really pushing it a little too close. So for now, 0.11 seems to be kind of decent from kind of the viewing perspective. So that was a big plus. The other thing that I did is I've unified, or not unified, but I've cleaned up all these like big rocks, cliffs type of meshes that I have into just using three. So they all share the same shader, and I think they kind of work together pretty well, especially to create some of these like cliffs, little ledges, hill areas, and so I've was able to reduce some of the texture memory usage with that. So that kind of brings us to this video memory has been exhausted, expect extremely poor performance. So with that, and I'm seeing this less and less with the more kind of optimizations that I do when it comes to um, the assets that I use, reducing or removing some of the assets that I only use once or twice, and just replacing them with something else that is a little bit more consistent. Um, and oh yeah, so Neil, thank you so much for commenting. Dynamic method, you can switch to a manual method. Oh, nice. Oh, hey, thank you. If you know those, if you don't mind sharing them in the chat, that'd be amazing. Appreciate it. But what my plan is to try, and I've tried this in the past, and try to look again at virtual textures. So what I've noticed in the past is that while the shader complexity increases, the memory usage decreases. So I'm hoping the trade-off is will pay off, and and it's going to be like something beneficial. So that's something to try next. Let's see. The other thing, and probably one of the most major ones that I've been working on is HLODs, and being able to build HLODs. To my experience, um, whenever you set up HLODs, there's like a couple of options here. So let's take a look. There's this world partition runtime. Um, and world partition runtime spatial hash. So with this one, I've only run into errors, the spatial hash. With the hash set, I've been able to build HLODs as expected. Um, Now, as far as the setup that I currently have, it's still somewhat basic. I have a number of grids for like large assets, which are usually like buildings and other things like that. Um, and I just have like a standard HLOD layer, so I can add it with through the HLOD setup. And the HLOD layer is pretty basic. These ones I've experienced, I've seen that instancing seems to be running a lot faster than merged mesh. I haven't, and with merged mesh, I've had some issues with the buildings that they were kind of the textures were baked onto, like the HLOD. So after running HLODs, you know, and actually let's jump into game mode and I'll show you what I mean with these HLODs. So Neo, runtime virtual textures reduce complexity, increase the memory usage. Um, yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Like I said, I'll look into that as well to see if there's if that can help in any way. All right, so you know, kind of jumping into game, I just wanted to show you how the HLOD looks. So let's actually just exit and be able to fly around a little bit. Um, all right, just close some of these windows here. So you can see like this one here. This is an HLOD. This one here is an HLOD. That one as well. So they kind of get packed in like this. I think this is all too close. And based on that grid is when the switch is going to happen. So for example, in here, if I was to like kind of close in a little bit, you can see now these are just the individual pieces of the building. And still for these ones back here, this is still just an HLOD and a bunch of like instance meshes. The one thing that I'm still trying to look into is like a little bit of an issue here where the HLOD for this, I think I need to go a little bit farther, but the HLOD for this is not, it's kind of cutting off the entire building for whatever reason. I don't, I'm still experimenting with it at the moment. So let me just possess the player again. And yeah, you can see like, especially like when you jump into game mode, the video memory, it kind of is a little bit more over all over the map. So hopefully I'll have something to say about that by next week, just as to what I'm trying to do. But you know, like even with the decrease in that lumen quality, you know, interiors still look like pretty good, like stuff, something like this, you know, still looks okay. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, there's still some missing things that I gotta fill in around some of these buildings, but and I actually wanted to just close these tabs to the right because that kind of drains on performance. Um, so yeah, you can see like over here, this one's an HLOD layer, and all these back here, they're also HLODs, and all the way back here. And I can probably increase the cluster size for some of these. You can see like how they're made. Um, yeah, so like some of them do have, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but like for certain buildings, they don't get baked correctly. So um, I'm still experimenting with that. But with the instance type of HLODs, these actually keep the they bake the material much better. It's also like it's in the title, right? It's instancing. So it's with when it comes to be doing a merged mesh, you would only have one of these in here. So I'm gonna revisit that again just to see which one might work better, especially when it comes to buildings. My assumption is that when it comes to like vegetation, instancing might be better, but I'm still kind of uh, you know uh, trying those options out. All right, so let's see. Um, and it actually didn't take uh, for this entire town and this area here. Um, building HLODs was actually pretty quick. Took a few minutes, I think, and that was building it inside of the engine. And but yeah, with merged, it would take a really long time. And like I said, there were kind of mixed results. Like for example, yeah, I was talking about the baking. Like this building is made out of a few pieces. So if I zoom in a little bit, so like you see, like there's a top, a middle, and a bottom. So one of them might have like a weird, different material applied to it. I'm not entirely sure why it ended up like that. Kind of like similar to how this one would be, right? You have like the top section being this beige color, and then this one on white on the bottom section. So that's still something that I'm looking into. But as far as after all these changes, the performance has drastically increased. So I am really really happy about that. Like I said, this one I think might be also a cause of, whenever you see like stutters in games and stuff like that, that could contribute to this. So I remember that I posted oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, whenever you find it, there's also the Discord if you want to share that in, so that'd be amazing. Yeah, the other thing that I was sharing in the last video was I still didn't spend enough time to figure out why whenever you go into game mode, some of these meshes don't properly, or they're like kind of invisible. I'm not sure, like there is a setting um, in the mesh editor, but I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was. It's like an angle. Um, what's it, buffer? So it's like kind of you can only see the mesh when you look at it at a specific angle, and but that is also that usually affects it in the editor as well, and not in game mode. So it is a little bit of a conundrum why when in game mode some of these meshes don't show, which is pretty odd. I'm starting actually to think if this is part of the grid that they're on, but I believe I did set them up on a to belong to one of the existing grid. I did not, but Neither I didn't do it for these ones either. So I think they should be able to, and these show. So yeah, in a previous video I was showing these, and I'll show you what I mean. Where's my player start? Let's kind of jump into game mode a little bit closer to this area. All right, let's take a look. So yeah, we can see them in the editor just fine. But then once in game, um, yeah, you can see like the stairs don't show, and also not those those little retaining walls don't show either. So it's kind of well, but why? So that's something that I'm trying to figure out. Um, yeah, let's see what else. What else? Um, yeah, I think those are kind of mainly it as far as the actions that I've taken so far to get to this point uh, from our last kind of the changes from the last stream where I'm just trying to get things better optimized and kind of ready um, for building the demo. And also, I was able to build a project, so that ran fine. This is in 5.6, and one thing that I think I'm also excited is 5.7 coming out, and seeing some of the improvements around the voxelized foliage and all the options to have that to be voxelized, and that and seeing some people kind of testing those out. I didn't do it just yet because it's still in preview and I'm waiting for like a full release, and also a lot of the plugins, some of the plugins that I use to be done for 5.7. So hopefully that'll happen soon-ish. They usually been pretty quick when it comes to the releasing the final, I guess not final, but 5.7.1 or .0 after the preview comes out. I'm not sure if they consider the .0 the preview or if it's and then .1, because I mean 5.6.1, right? Yeah, all right, let's see. Anything else that I've done? Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, I have went down to only three types of trees, and from four, so that should reduce a little bit of my texture footprint as well. Um, for some reason, I get 35% better performance on UE4 compared to UE5. Oh, wow. Yeah, so Neo, that's actually, in all honesty, I mean, at least on my end, I've been getting, considering that I have Lumen turned on and all that, I've been getting comparable performance in um, in 5.6, or like in 5.6. To me, I feel it's much better than the older versions of the 5.2.3.4. 5.5 is out of the question. I think that was not the best. But with 5.6, I think things are running pretty good for me at least. And like I said, I'm very curious about 5.7 when that comes out to see how that one does. When it, especially like I said, when it comes to the voxelization. because um, with the quad overdraw, that one, especially with vegetation and all these transparent things that I use, or masked, I should, transparent and masked. Um, I think that should help with the performance as well. Um, I wish I had a base of comparison, kind of like I have migrated yesterday from 5.4, from 4 to 5, like 4.27 to 5.6, and be able to say, you know, yeah, this is a big step up, or it's actually a letdown, or not a letdown, but it runs um, quite a bit worse than uh, you know i- i- five. The UE5 runs worse than 4. So yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of all this has been built in 5, so that's my only comparison. But from previous from my experience with 4.27, given let's see, let's look at this one here. So given the amount of triangles, this is very basic, right? So given the draw calls um, and the triangles drawn, it's performance-wise, it's pretty similar on my end. Um, Yeah, and you're definitely right on that, with the CPU performance and how they treat that. But uh, what I've seen over the, 5 dot, 5.1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4, dot 5, dot 6, I feel like things are getting better. At least, like I said, again, this is on at least on my end. I wish I could say this from, I work in the industry and I see that in at my work. But yeah, on my end, things have been, I've felt like things are doing pretty well. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, and this is something I've run into, and you see here with I was showing earlier about the quad overdraw for the terrain landscape. So this is a pretty high spline, sorry. So this is a pretty high poly spline, and I was fine with it. I was thinking, I can convert this to nanite. Unfortunately, it doesn't work so well. So it seems that splines and nanite, they don't seem to mix nicely. So let me show you what I mean. Let's go to splines, and I think I might need to go into lit mode um, to be able to select these here. So, so let's take a look at, so this is the mesh, right? It doesn't have nanite. It's pretty high poly. There's like LODs on it, so they change once you get pretty far. But I was hoping that I'd be able to, enable nanite and, reduce the amount of like how badly this is overdrawn. But as you can see, there's like issues like this, where the mesh gets all kind of garbled up when it's like on the spline. Though, if we were to go back into quad, I think you can see like this one is so much nicer when it comes to um, like the amount of overdraw that it would do. Unfortunately, it's on a spline. So it seems from what I was able to find that splines and nanite don't do so well. And I guess the solution to this would be keep it as is, like not nanite. And then once you actually build these meshes, maybe then try and convert that over to nanite. But in the meantime, this is how it's going to be. So yeah, like I was not a big fan of nanite just because, oh, there's some of these issues with it, some of the issues that they used to be with like vegetation, and I think to some extent they're still there. I think 5.7 will address a lot of them, but now, being, I don't have everything nanite, but with a selection of assets, it definitely helps. So yeah, that's a kind of a little bit of my experience so far with it. And yeah, so kind of that's what I wanted to share as far as updates from the last time I streamed. And of course, as far as the world itself, I haven't done too much, you know, too many additions, so to speak. It was mostly just trying to get this to run as well as possible on my machine. Um, and you can see like here, like depending on the trees you find, I use especially with vegetation. Um, Marketplace assets. So this package, unfortunately, when it comes to the billboard, it's got this kind of weird thing that's happening at the when you look at it at a specific angle, like from kind of bottom up, where it for whatever reason it creates this little a little pat or whatever you want to call it on top of this. So that's why I wasn't able to push that. Billboard LOD any further to reduce the quad overdraw. But yeah, overall, I feel it's still quite all right. I might look into the shader a little bit just to see if I can address that. Um, so so yeah, guys, that's kind of some of the updates from a visual standpoint. I've been trying to like kind of finish off this area around here a little bit, just kind of how it slopes into the main road. Uh, Town itself, I haven't really added anything. I've been working on kind of fixing some of these buildings, and some of them they have these little bit of a tiny gaps over here where these things might have been moved out of position. But yeah, I still keep these as individual level instances. So if I change this one, it should change this one as well because it's the same one. But I've also made a couple of different other ones so that I can change the color of the siding so they look a little bit different. So like these ones over here, they don't have the exact same color as these ones. I'm fine with these ones being kind of the same little neighborhood area. These ones could be changed to something else. Yeah. Um, oh wow. Oh yeah. And that's exactly it, and that's why I can't really say, you know, that if I was to move this over to Unreal Engine 4, like in the exact state that it's in right now, will that one run better? You know, yeah, this one has some of those settings for like nanite and lumen and that part of global illumination. What if you were to use SSGI in or like what was the other? It had another solution for global illumination in UE4. I can't remember what the name of it was. Something with an L, I think. Light propagation volumes or something like that. It had some name like that. And that one, it was kind of a Lumen type of solution, but it was also reducing performance. I don't know if RTGI wasn't that like hardware, it wasn't like a ray trace type of thing. Um, because this one was um, it was software, so it was something that I was able to run, for example, um, since it's the same video card ever since then. Yeah. So um, so that's kind of it as far as updates, as far as um, what has happened since the last time you streamed. So that's mainly it. Like I said, just trying um, to get things running as smoothly as possible. Because I can only imagine, like, if this one was running on a um, uh, you know up-to-date video card, even like a mid-level. Like I was comparing my 1070 to a 4060, which I think it's kind of considered a mid-level nowadays. And I guess the 4060 is like a 60% faster than mine, so it should hit like 70 frames or 60, 65-ish. So I'm trying to ask around to see if I can get my hands on one of these newer sort of like 2000, 3000 series video cards to test this out. Yeah, all global illumination methods run bad. Well, I mean, it's definitely not going to be as they're not going to run as good, I guess, as none of it. But I've been pretty happy with. I haven't seen, at least in my case, the difference between running it with Lumen on versus off. I think it's about a four FPS difference. So um, it's not a huge impact. Again, um, I haven't looked into the interiors as much as to try and reduce the noising, I guess noising, yeah, the noise that happens when you're looking at an interior. So yeah, I'll see how that can affect things. Um, all right. So I was thinking for the rest of the stream, I might play around this little backyard area over here to see if there's, kind of try to address some of this stuff like this sidewalk, this thing here that doesn't connect with anything properly, and uh, and kind of get this area a little bit, better finished off, so let's say. Um, and I'm kind of starting to think that what I could do, um, especially for this building, is have another door over here, So I could, this building can be kind of sunk in the ground like this, be at a shorter building, but have an entrance here. So let's see how that's gonna look. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's actually I forgot to ask whether you've tried the new AI assistant. Um, I can't, I've tried it a few times, but I've actually had better success with um, ChatGPT, to be honest. Um, but does that come like because I've used like the AI with the via the browser. It's not in the engine yet, is it? Or I might have missed it if it is. Yeah, so let's see how this one would look because it should be showing up. All right, let's see if I was to save it. What side of the building is this going to show up on? It's on that side. So this one can have like a balcony over here, so I think it should be fine. Oh, it is a plugin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't tried that, but thank you for mentioning because I was thinking it's only in the um, It's just kind of a browser in the browser at the moment, so it's not available through in the editor just yet. But I've been able to get some answers from it, so I'm I'm happy it's there. Like really, it's a really a good thing. And however if they're gonna bring it into more to the forefront, like I can click something here and like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to what's the CVAR for this? Because there's like so many CVARs you can't remember them all. And oh, that would be amazing. And like I said, it's even with ChatGPT and what ChatGPT has been or has for like a training data for now, it's I felt it was extremely useful. Like I found it very useful. Um, and a really cool thing was some basic explanation of some advanced topics when it comes to like like looking at some stats or some other things like that. I felt that was really very helpful. Yeah, so another thing that I wanted to mention, even though I have some of these levels as level instances, I still have some of these areas as just their own little, in this case, backyard one, like their own just a folder. It's not a separate level. So, I mean, um, for these smaller assets, I didn't want them to be in a separate level, if that makes sense. I mean, I think it works the same if they were inside a level, but with buildings, it seems a little bit easier to have them repetitive, but when it comes to these like smaller items that are close to you and you look up close, um, I didn't want to have like five different levels just for backyards. So I kind of keep them separate like this, and backyard one, backyard two, backyard three. So I can select one of these guys and select immediate children. I don't know why it has the descendants, but and then I can just, duplicate these and bring them over here. Um, the only thing is, let me see if this is part of the same backyard. So, whenever I do that, let's quickly, before I forget, move to new folder. For whatever reason, it put it inside of this one, backyard 4. So you can like move it up one level. Yeah, so see, that's what I wanted to do, but then I think I might need to drag it under main level. So there we go. So we have another little backyard here that I can just edit individually. And as you can see, it's just part of backyard 4, and I can select them all separately. But again, this is just everybody might be doing it differently. Um, that's that's how I'm doing it. And of course, it's always kind of useful just to already have these on the these like ivy kind of little things. So I'm just gonna try and edit this so that it looks like a gate. But yeah, I haven't gotten around to doing too much of this lately. Uh, it's just been more of a let's try and like optimize this and get it to run as good as I can. So to that extent, that kind of looks like it's a gate connected to that. And of course, I'm just gonna kind of swing this open so it doesn't um, and then this part here. Get it over there. All right, someone like that. It's kind of coming into this guy's yard. All right, so kind of that easy, creating just another one of these backyards. Of course, this one being a level itself, might be. Um, Oops, actually, that's on me. I did not want to do that. But see, this is kind of one of the issues with this being a level. So I'm just going to remove this one and just copy this awning here. Maybe with a couch. Um, oh yeah, yeah. It's tough. Like I totally see what you're saying. It's when I started work on this project, I was like, okay, no, this is what I want to make. And I'm gonna go for it. So hopefully it turns into something. That's, I guess, everybody's goal when they go start about, doing like one of these. And yeah, I think it's a matter of you know, just do it. Uh, cue the Shia LaBeouf little screaming video or whatever that was. And yeah, there's no reason to be scared. At least I don't think so. All right, so we got some of that. I'll look into adding a couple of things around here. Um, maybe some like a trash bin that you'd be able to search through, some trash bags. I was talking to somebody earlier, and I think, the game development community is like I feel like it's the most eager to help you community, kind of, sharing knowledge. And it's like, oh yeah, but I've done it like this, so have you thought about doing it like this, type of thing. So I would just go for it, you know. All right, let's see. I think I might have maybe 3 different fences uh, from this. Let's see. Anyone different that might be a little bit broken down and stuff like that. There we go. All right, so let's play a little bit with this alleyway back here. And with the virtual textures, the runtime virtual textures is what I meant. Let's sculpt this up a little bit, and it should make it pretty easy to get some of this stuff for like joint areas, like around here, around some of these corners. That could be, maybe it's a little bit big, but I might need to increase like the tiling on this because it's really doesn't look so good. But yeah, you can see like how well that helped, especially like you see like there's this little line here. So just bumping that up a little bit, having that transition, I think that helps out. All right, let's see what we want to do with this little sidewalk, these sidewalk pieces over here. Lower it down. Just probably gonna remove this one because this one's a big texture, and you know, let's try and be a little bit conservative. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. And yeah, that's definitely true. And myself included, I might have went, right out of the gate. It's like, okay, I want to do this. So I didn't plan maybe as much as I probably should have. But yeah, I think at that time it was a lot of, well, I got to learn how to do some of this stuff because I don't know much of Unreal Engine, especially when I decided to move from CryEngine. And the idea for the project was already there, but I'm like, okay, I need to see how I transition all this stuff into Unreal. And but yeah, that's great to kind of put them down and then have them like a design document type of thing. All right, let's see. Can I increase the tiling for this material? Um, all right, where is my terrain? Select that. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to mention, I also started looking into like the nanite for landscape, and unfortunately, there is in my case when I've set it for my entire landscape and then built data, so then that crashed. And I understand there's like a way to do it if you load the landscape in sections and you build the data for sections at a time. So I've seen somebody else post that. Yeah. Um, oh, yeah, and you can see like, oh, I actually didn't notice this part here, like at a distance, the trunk kind of breaks for this tree. Oh, that's interesting. Might be because of the nanite. Yeah, like I said, some of the creators don't have nanite just yet. So maybe after 5.7 they'll push some nanite versions. How was your experience with CryEngine? I think it was a really good experience from the C++ learning standpoint because I kind of wanted to learn C++ and you know combine that with game development. And I think that CryEngine has more of a how should I put this? One second. Sorry, I just had to cough. So I think looking I haven't done too much or any C++ with Unreal, but looking at some of the tutorials and some of the documentation with CryEngine, it's more of the standard C++ type of experience than it is with Unreal. So, you know, when it comes to everything else, oh yeah, oh thank you. Yeah, if you know the crashing with a high resolution landscape on a low memory card, if that comment is related to the enabling nanite on my landscape, then yeah. So yeah, with CryEngine, um, everything else, you know, world building aspects and all that, they were pretty similar. Like for those I transitioned very easily to Unreal. Um, yeah, um, so yeah, all of that. It's you know, it's a game engine in the end, right? So that's the most important point of it. The well, when it comes to, let's say, you have all kind of all-encompassing knowledge of things, and you can just like in a blink of an eye, you can build something. It still it still creates a game. The problem with it is like you don't really know about support. So right now, you know, when I moved to Unreal, um, there seemed like nothing was happening with a scheduled release that they had. So um, that's what I'm personally, that's what I'm afraid of with it, you know. So um, you know, you don't really know if the company that has it, you know, goes away, then um, yeah, the engine you might have already downloaded and run it, but then how do you license it to actually, or like, you know, how do you pay royalties? So that is, um, and you know, no further development that was happening to it. So if you're happy with that, you know, rendering and all that, I really liked it. But you know, the specular workflow, I think I felt like it looked better for reflections and you know, like for metals, for um, yeah, I don't think it has real-time reflections either, even with their I think it's called like SSGI, their global illumination. But but yeah, it's just the uncertainty of it. You know, that's what I don't like. So um, and that's what I'm afraid of. But the experience was, I think the experience was positive. Again, it's just there's no resources or very little, so you got to consider that. But overall, it's a game engine. You know, it does as advertised. um, it does what a game engine would do. But like I said, I'm afraid of the future when it comes to it. So I'm trying right now to find the whereabouts in this material I can set the tiling for this mud layer or this dirt layer. So bear with me for a little bit. Where would that be? And mud. Oh, interesting. So there's only like a far, mid, and close type of let's see, can we get it so that it's also one thing that I wanted to also bring up is that ever since I moved to 5.6, and hopefully this undo is not going to prove me wrong, but I had um, um, a lot fewer crashes. So that was I was actually surprised. It's like, okay, well, I mean, this is good. So we'll see if if I'm gonna end up biting my tongue and uh, you know, later on today I'm gonna get some crashes, but yeah, very few that I was looking at it and I don't really know how this happened, type of thing. All right, so let's look at if I can introduce a um, bear with me for a little bit. This was a pretty interesting uh, material landscape build. So let's see, what do we have here? Macro distance. There's a way to control the tiling, but you control it for all the layers. So let's see how we can get it so that the close tiling. There we go. I think that would be it. But yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, is that this setting controls it for all the layers and not just the dirt layer. But that's a little bit better, I think, for the tiling, though. Maybe too much. All right, let's leave it like this for now. And another layer that it has, and I wasn't able to get it to work yet, is the puddles layer. Or actually, did I remove it? I think I might have removed it because I decided, well, I'm probably just gonna go with decals. So when it comes to puddles, where is my puddle? Oh, interesting. I went with a plane, which I don't think that I would do that for whatever reason, but there we go. All right, so I think that's, I kind of like this, a little bit of terrain blend in between the different surfaces here. So that provides the transition, between this, which is, if I was to hide it, is that, and then this one, which is that, and then back to this. So I feel that was pretty, with the runtime virtual textures, that's actually kind of useful. All right, let's add a few, maybe a couple of these tire tracks over here. Maybe try a different one. There we go. It's a little bit fainter. And I know I had one that's got like some more of a, curved kind of tracks and not just this straight. Which is also kind of fine, though. This is more of a some kind of hot rod that was like doing burnouts in the parking lot. So I think it might be just maybe better with some kind of puddles and like stains. Let's see what we can find. Okay, that's an interesting one. Why that doesn't show, but you know, something like this. Maybe it's leaking from under the vehicle. There we go. And also just a little bit of grunge to place on the house. It's just I'm gonna remove this from the level itself because it was part of the level. There we go, just to kind of make it a little bit different than this one next to it. And also, I guess, remove the repetition in that color. And maybe apply to this one as well. Try to make it a little bit fainter. There we go, maybe like that. Okay, yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna try and make it so that it's kind of leaking next to the window somehow, or from the from the like the edges of the window. Like this maybe. Now let's actually lower it down so it's kind of coming from the windowsill. I don't know. I mean, it can kind of work. I don't know what to think about that. Seemed like it was better when it was a little bit bigger and, kind of starting here at the top of the top of that roof. All right, let's leave it like that for now. Maybe just extend it down to here. Okay, I'll take that. All right, well, let's see if we can add some more things to kind of cover the area around here. Maybe like some cardboard, some like small trash and stuff like that. And this is one thing that I need to make a decision because I have a big variety of different cardboard boxes, and to pick a set of them and uh, not the variety that I currently have in the world, which should also reduce some of that dreaded, memory usage. Let's see. So things like this, I can always try and let's see if I can use that scatter tool. And got the static mesh here. Like you guys seen, I'm using this scatter tool quite a bit. And let's see, what was I looking for? The scatter area. All right, so I need a lot less instances. Let's do maybe 10. And then also scaling wise. Let's do 1 to about 1.5. And then a few random rotations. And this part here is always just trying to make it so that it also traces against itself. Those cardboards are pretty big, so let me actually put them a little bit over, like maybe this would be like one of those trash areas or something. Yeah, as you can see, they don't really. I was hoping that I can, like I said, make him trace against each one of these items. It somewhat works. But what I feel like I might do, um, maybe in a separate level where I'd be able to simulate these a lot quicker, is to just simulate physics on them and have them maybe place like 10, have them fall, into like a set container so that, it could be placed like in this space here or, leaned up against something. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. And this autosave. Not sure why it's like this one takes forever, but when you do a regular save, it's immediate. All right. Well, let's see how else can we tie this up around here. Um, we could do. I was thinking of this. Like right in the front of this, it kind of be like an area that you can't enter. Just to block that off. There you go. And over here, it's a perfect placement for some dumpsters. I might not want this whole this whole mess there, but let's see how that looks. Okay, not too bad. I think I can use that. That's the laundromat. And let's see if we can switch places. Also trying not to use the same pile of trash like so close to each other. Let's see if there's another set of trash that I can maybe use. Or I might as well just use just this regular one. Okay, well that's actually pretty good. Hey, Kobaidze, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Let's see, add this in. And yeah, one thing that, especially when it comes to placing some of these assets, they kind of want to just like drop it in. It's like, okay, just place it on the surface. If you hit end, it should do that. Let's Let's see. Oh, not delete, my bad. So if you press End, it should place it right above the surface below it, especially where it has collisions. But if the collision is not perfect, it's still going to be floating a little bit, so you might need to adjust it. But yeah, there we go, just like this. And maybe we'll add a little bit of a stain or something like that underneath the trash bin, which already was using it over here. I thought I had it copied, but you know, something like this debris that I've been using in a bunch of other places. So it offers a little bit of a kind of dirt around this area. And let's see, dirt. You know, so that's the cool thing with decals. They can kind of sink them into the ground a little bit and then have them be a little bit faded. You know, like that. So easy to just make it a little bit bigger. And of course, we can some patches like a concrete patch. And I think I might have just used it in one of these backyards. Where is it at? It's none of these. Where are you? Oh, there you go. This one here. So it's kind of like a pothole, kind of a mix. But that should cover some of this area, I think, pretty nicely. There you go, just like that. All right, so maybe a few things to be added around here. And one thing that I really liked about, you know, kind of painting this terrain is that you can always go into like the grass, or like if you have a grass layer, and just paint it on top of this, you know, so like kind of bottom of the stairs, you'd have like some grass poking through there. Maybe like in some corners like this around the fencing areas, it'd be some more over there. Maybe over here. You know, like maybe in this little corner here. I think I might need to tweak the grass density, or like the grass selection that I currently have. A little bit of kind of remove some of it around here. Yeah, there you go. That adds a little bit more to this to the surface and not just the concrete. And there we go, like that in that corner. Adding a little bit of that dirt. So yeah, there we go. I think we can fill in some of the space here with, see, I got some like cars that I've been using. So let's see if I can find one to add in there just to fill in that space. And let's see, what do we have? You know, maybe something that's been kind of taken apart. And just sitting here. Of course, we can fill that in with a little bit of ivy growing around it. And we can sculpt it up a little bit and paint some grass. There we go. That kind of fills in that little corner, this little front of the house, which kind of leads me, forgot to, I've been editing some of these levels to, of course, remove some of these doors. So that way I don't really have the, uh, I don't use that texture that I have nothing to do with, um, and replace it with just other doors that I use in the world. And for that, buildings, doors. There we go. One of these that, actually, let me delete this because I've already used it over here. Oh, that's an unforeseen consequence. Oopsies. Ha. Well, that's a boo-boo right there. Let's kind of try and fix this. Yeah, because they kind of overlap weirdly a little bit. So you can see like there's this little, these are, seems like these bottom meshes are a little bit taller, so I might need to edit some of them. It's not a huge visual issue, but mm, I might want to make that look a little bit better. Yeah, for example, this one is going to have like a small balcony over here. But in the meantime, let's grab the door itself. All right, so save that. And we use the same door over here. Oh, my bad. I was kind of thinking the lighting was looking kind of weird. So I was testing a couple of other lighting scenarios. Um, let's see how it looks with the sunset. I'll leave it like that for now, just to see how it looks. So there we go. See, what do we get when we rotate this a little bit? Actually, kind of looks pretty cool over here. Interiors seem to look pretty nice. It's always so tough to like, especially with an open area. How do you what lighting scenario should you choose? Especially if it's not a well the reflection on that glass looks pretty funky. But yeah, that kind of looks pretty nice. That's a pretty cool angle too. Let's see, what if we go to this end? I mean, I ended up in the same spot, but where is that shining from? It's from behind me, I think. Okay, that's kind of cool coming from over there. I do like this angle, I have to say, when it gets to that point. Just trying to few of the areas I had bookmarked already. All right, kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm really, I've started like I wanted to place something over here, but now, having this car and, s- you know, half full abandoned over here, that actually it's kind of nice. And with this, lighting scenario, I kind of like it. Even during the day, it's all right. I mean, I think it definitely performs better with this one. I think the other one had an additional, some other settings in the additional post-process volume, so it kind of looked like this car was flying. All right, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So as you come in here, of course, navigating the sewers, one of those entrances would be over here, like behind and between these houses. Which actually leads me to, I kind of forgot I was thinking about adding that balcony. So let me just add that in here while we're at it. Oh, I need to edit this one. It doesn't have a bottom to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna chop the the fire escape and turn that into a balcony, which that should, yeah, that's just tiny. But with the fire escape, this one it already has the bones, let's call it, in place to just close this opening and then create a balcony for these situations here. So, and yeah, that should also remove the repetitiveness of having, whoa, how did I end up in this thing? Having the, all these buildings. Like I've tried to remove that with the fire escape, but, having, you know, two windows, two windows, two windows, two windows, but then you have a door and a window. So, uh, and then the balcony would be a little bit different than just the fire escape. So, you know what, since we're here, I still plan to do a stream for another half an hour. So let's do that real quick because I wanted to have a to end it that way. So let me go ahead and export this. Um, and then let me find Blender. Blender, there you are. Okay, so I'm gonna export this real quick. All right, so I don't need any of those. All right, so back in Blender, PX. All right, so out of this, you'll notice that I'm still on 2.79. Well, I mean, this is the one that I'm very used to when it comes to shortcuts, and since I don't get to do too much um, modeling, I already have all the plugins in here for this one. All right, so there's our balcony. Very stylish. And now I just need to edit this stuff here. All right, and yeah, we're almost there, guys. And this is a balcony for like uh, industrial strength. Okay, well, I think that might be it. All right, so let's go ahead and import this. All right, and there we go. We have a balcony. I guess it was made by the same people that made the fire escape, but so we have one over there. Let's put one over here as well. I'm guessing I could change the material to be wood, maybe, but yeah, but there you go. So we have a balcony there. I think I might need some, this one seems a little high there. So we could maybe use a little bit of, see what I want to do with this building is move it this way. Yeah, I kind of remember, I was trying to remember why I have it pushed all the way this way, but unfortunately, the entrance, the door is very close to the window. So, okay. But yeah, just add some steps over here. And I think I might have used some somewhere. First, since I'm here, just gonna put a door onto this entrance here. And let's see, can I use a different one? That's the same one. Let's see. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Just add a little bit of variety in here. Since these use the same texture set for materials, I'm gonna have this and then kind of like a screen door. So you have a little bit of kind of depth, right? So you got this one in front and then that one behind it. A little bit too much fancy. Let's kind of flip it around. Hardware for this, you know, like that handle. I mean, it's all right, I guess. Yeah. Um, see if I have something a little simpler. There we go. It's got like a regular door handle. So like that, there you go. Okay. Right, with that, I was still looking for some steps. Or maybe I call it stair. Somewhat dingy, but okay. Like it was meant there, to some extent. But there we go. All right, so this area is quite okay. One thing, yeah, that I wanted to this fence here, all these kind of ivy type of meshes. See, I think I have a bigger one over here. I wanted to add it here because it creates this little additional ambient occlusion for some of these surfaces, and I do like that. There we go, like that, and then the smaller size, I can use these. This is actually really good for the corner over here. Yeah, so you can see what I mean with this kind of this additional ambient occlusion that I think it's because of the mesh, the um, distance fields, and then over here. So it removes that kind of just repetitiveness of the fence. Like you can see how straight over here it is. I mean, I do have the dumpster, which I can push it back and get that extra occlusion back there. So there we go. And these people had a lot of tires. They were tire rich. Okay. And just in here, what I wanted to do is also flatten this terrain over here and then paint some grass, just like that. And maybe that's a little too much. Maybe this car I wanna, because it seems like it's kind of brand new, but I wanna move it a little bit like so. So let's sculpt this up right onto the edge of the house. There we go. So then we have some of that going for it over here. Okay. Yeah. For whatever reason, I haven't added any extra textures, but this keeps like going up and up. That's one thing that I still haven't gotten a proper explanation on why this, when you start the engine, it's totally fine, and then as you keep working, it starts going higher and higher. But again, something that I'm going to try and look into and share when I have a little bit more details, a little bit more insight into why that is. Let's add, since we're here, um, I am liking the idea of the screen door here. So let's add another one for one of these, because they're kind of like the same door. So maybe one of these places would have like a screen door. you can see like this one here, it kind of is really starting to bug me with this. Um, I'm trying to figure out what I could do. Maybe in this case, I'm going to make this one's going to be a pretty big screen door. Fortunately, I need to scale it up like this. Luckily, it doesn't have like I mean, it does have this round here, but other than that, it kind of, you're not, your eye is not drawn to like a round shape as much. Whereas with, oh wow, that is really dark. Where is that? Hey, Alam, how's it going? How's it going? Okay, so I kind of like it like that. Oh, progress is going good. Progress is good. Earlier in the stream, I was sharing a little bit of the performance enhancements and like how things are running after them. And yeah, so some especially I was at the beginning of the stream, so this video memory has been exhausted, had not started happening yet. Again, something that I'd like to understand why that is. Why it's not happening in the beginning, but then as you keep working, why that thing starts like kind of piling up that way. Um, but and I do have a number of tabs open at the moment, so I'm not sure if that probably contributes to it. But but yeah, so I was showing a little bit earlier how, areas like this went up to close to 50 frames, things like this went from like 25 to like almost 40 around here at the beginning of this stream again. This wasn't happening. So we were kind of getting close to 60-ish. This one over here also like in the 50s. This one high 40s, almost 50s. This one was closing in on 60. Um, this one also, um, uh, you know, not that big of a change. I think it was still around 45. This one was 60-ish. This one around 45, 47. This one also like 45, 50. And so yeah, talking about some of those changes that I've applied to get to this point, H loads and so on. So yeah, definitely closing in on being able to to build the demo. And I've started prepping like the Steam page as well. So yeah. Oh yeah, so it keeps it in memory. So I know, and that's what I've been doing. But it is a little bit annoying seeing it, especially during the stream. And that's another thing that I was mentioning earlier is I'm going to try and look into along with the runtime virtual textures into changing the textures for my assets to virtual textures, right? So um, yeah, and I have a couple some of the interiors levels, I have those unloaded, so those probably don't add to it. I mean, like if we were to look at what is it, the statistics, and so in here, oh, that's not the primitive stats, but like the texture stats and all streaming levels. So this should be around 7, maybe a little bit more. 7 gigs. Yeah, 7.6. Okay. Um, and that's probably because you can see like some of these big textures is I was playing around with 2 lighting scenarios in the editor. So, um, you know, that that additional sky is still, the textures associated with it are still loaded in. We were playing with this, and where is it? just to see how things were looking, like trying playing around with some of the stuff here, like it was looking kind of cool around this area over here, where the one that we were building up earlier. So, some of the other areas around it, how those would look. Um, but yeah, it's um, it's moving forward, definitely, definitely. So yeah. Okay, so that actually kind of looks. I kind of like that. Um, let's see what it'd be like 355. There you go. That's kind of cool. 360. It's pushing it a little bit too much, and also, working on the lumen aspect of things so that you know. Well, yeah, that's another smoke. Yeah, it does. It's you know, like having the lighting kind of behind the house. You can see, like, if you look up close, let me see if I can, maybe it's actually not that visible anymore, but on my end, it's still a little bit noisy. I do also have like a little bit of a film grain on this, so it's, um, that probably contributes to the noise. But yeah, let me see how this would look at nighttime. I hope I didn't break the nighttime setting on this. Okay, that's actually cool-ish. Oops, that's a really intense light over there. But okay, yeah, this, the since I've dropped some of the quality of things, some uh, the volumetrics are not looking the greatest, as you can see. So especially if that light puts out a big volumetric value, it's gonna, well, not look great. But yeah, so I was trying this a little bit some time ago, to see how it would look when if I was to set up like a night, like a night setting. And actually, now that a lot more of the scene has been put in place, it's actually starting to look pretty cool, even at night. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of how I ended up with my, where are the stars? Oh yeah, I used to have like the material worked before, so I'm not sure why it's not working as good. Let's see, maybe decrease that a little bit, reduce this radius. Yeah, yeah, thank you. It's all right, And maybe let's see if I make this a little bit colder. Okay, I kind of like that. But yeah, actually, let's see if I was to rotate the. That's kind of interesting why that that skybox is not loading properly for the night setting. That kind of sucks. But uh, and I think this could, if it was indeed to be a nighttime setting, see if I was to put this one. over on this side of the building, or where would it look better? I think I would like it here because it's kind of got that nice, shadow through the fence type of thing. And I think this one also uses contact shadows because you can see like how bad that looks. Oh, and it's actually really close, so that does not help. Yeah, so for some, I don't think the shadows would do really well. But let's bump up the indirect intensity for this one. And yeah, see like it's casting shadows. And unfortunately, this one, let me see if I have this contact shadows turned on, or what is the value? I think so. Point light. I was just playing around with the source radius, and let's see, contact shadow intensity. Nope, is it? Could it be in the panel itself that is casting? No, it's, oh, contact shadow. Yeah, there is still weird why it's got this kind of jagged thing to it. Yeah, it kind of gets more and more messed up. And it doesn't seem like the contact shadow length has any. So they were all set to default, but that's interesting why that would be so funky. Like this being a spotlight. That's an interesting one. I'd have to look at that and see, because everything else is just standard. But yeah, that's a little bit of a. I mean, I guess it can always be, faked. Move this up higher and then it's still you can still see it. Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Nah, I think it's still making it kind of ugly like that. So let me try and put it on this side and see if it yeah, see it's still got this jagged thing. Maybe it's the intensity. So it's not this. It's not the inner like the inner cone angle setting. Yeah, I'd have to look because I don't think I've made any changes to. I did, you know what? I did go to like virtual shadows instead of the cache shadows because that's I guess a requirement for nanite. But let me look at that real quick. So in project settings, how you have, so we got the virtual shadow maps and then the regular shadow maps. Which not sure if I do like the softness of things. but it's kind of a big change. I'm not entirely sure why the shadow maps behave like this, or the virtual shadow maps, and then the just the regular shadow maps. They have that. I still um yeah, let me check something real quick. I do have nanite enabled. And like I said, I remember that last time when I was playing with this, it was complaining that you need to enable virtual shadow maps for nanite, so that's why I enabled them. But I haven't really tested out a lighting scenario like this. Um, so let's see, it's casting shadow. Let's see, contact shadow. I don't think that would do anything, but bump up the shadow map on the mesh. What do you mean, bump the shadow map on the mesh? And hey, Half Blood Prince, thank you so much. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for your comment. Where is that? I didn't realize there was a setting for that, like the shadow map. If I was to like not cast shadow, let me see. Let me see if it was. I didn't play with any of the settings for the light itself, so I would assume that. No, that they're all just default. Let me see if there's anything else. Shadow bias. Oh, I've actually set the shadow bias to 1. Okay, so those don't really, I think it's only on like um, a particular angle kind of a thing where the bias helps. That's kind of odd. I mean, with the virtual shadow maps, you get that. But let me see if virtual or shadow maps, shadow. So if we were to go back to virtual shadow maps, is it? Yeah, so this one here is doing the same thing with this like kind of, see this kind of jagged thing going on. And could it be in my settings? Shadows, cinematic. Nah, that doesn't do anything. And yeah, so see like the from the directional light, things look fine, but when it comes to the spotlight, let me try and add the fresh one. Maybe it's something wrong with my spotlight. Let's see. So spotlight, because I have tweaked that. I'm starting to think that is something that has to do with that blueprint of mine. Yeah, I think so. Weirdly enough, I'm not sure why that is, why that was happening. Yeah, so see this is fine. So it was something about my something about how that blueprint is that blueprint in mine is doing it. Uh, it's still odd, but um, yeah, that's true. And I was thinking either, I mean, for for a wall like a wall light like this, what could you use? Um, like um, would you use a point light? I mean, I guess you only wanted to go this way, but even with this, like the light complexity, I mean, it could be better, but it's not terrible. So, um, yeah. But anyway, I guess if I was considering um, to do um, yeah, so see like this kind of jaggedness of it. I'll have to look into it. I was considering to do a nighttime scenario like playthrough as well, where I would tweak some of the correct characteristics of the enemies, right? Um, yeah, I mean that's it. It would definitely do that. The only thing is, so if I was to put a point light in the place of this, right, it would also kind of do this, backlit thing on the surface. So, like you would want to kind of place it here, but you'd see like it would also shine the shadow onto here, where where this one it would only kind of project it outwards, right? Because I think in the end they're all I don't know, I think they're all the same cost, right? So if this one was off and this one was on, right, and you look at the light complexity, okay, so that one's green all around. Oops. And then this one, and mind you, this one also has like a small point light for that effect around it. And this one's still green, right? Actually, I think it might be, is it like a lighter green, kind of going this way a little bit more than the point light? I think it's the same green. So, um, but yeah, like and actually, yeah, I guess it affects everything, like behind it and in front. And I think um, if you were to go with the point light, let's see, this one, see, there's nothing behind it. Not the point light, but the spotlight. Yeah, so there's nothing here. There's only in front of it. So from the lighting complexity, it looks to me that the point light um, seems a little bit cheaper, but um, I mean, it still doesn't answer the the question of those jagged edges and why that is. So, which is weird. But but okay, let's go. Oh, there you go. So finally, we got some of the starlit sky in here. But yeah, I think daylight. Oh, not daylight. Sorry, sunset. I still kind of like the sunset. Um, Probably the best. Yeah. Okay. I think this point here was where it was pretty nicely lit around somewhere around here. 350. Anyways. Yeah, the directional light is definitely it definitely is. Though I think it might be um Mm. Oh, the rectangular light. That, yeah, I think that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, yeah, rectangular light. That's it. Um, okay. Well, so guys, I think that's gonna be it for this week. So I'm gonna be getting back into the regular streaming, so doing these weekly, and maybe even in the evening sometimes. I might not be posting it to. I'm gonna try and post it to Twitter, Blue Sky, Discord, just to um, if people are around, it's like, hey, okay, I'll jump on, say hi. But yeah, so I'm gonna be ending it here. It's actually went a little bit longer than I was thinking, but we got into some of this level design, which is always fun. So yeah, hopefully next week I hope to have like a kind of an answer. This is what I did for this, and hopefully bring this down. And yeah, until then, guys, thank you again so much for stopping by. Uh, so. So I'll see you next week. Oh, so the LOD stuff, yeah, I did. So the H lods, I was able to build those, and oh, no worries, no worries. I did. So we can catch up on Discord, Atlam, if you'd like. I can fill you up on that, and I was talking about it earlier in the video as well. But yeah, I did figure it out. It's kind of one thing works, the other one doesn't, and the one that I was trying wasn't working. But yeah, I think I was able to get it going. So. All right. Well, guys, have a great week coming up. Great rest of your Sunday, and yeah, thanks again for stopping by. And I'll see you next week. All right. Take care, everybody.